Do you have too many spoons and not enough axes? Are you looking for a convenient way to piss off your wife and to build something fun?
We have no more spoons!
Then do I have a project for you. We're going to turn a spoon into an axe. Okay, maybe not that big of an axe. First things first, we got to flatten out our spoon to get an easier profile to work with. And once it's flattened, we're going to put it into the vise and bend it so we have a good handle shape and the neck is shaped in the right direction. We're going to use a Sharpie to draw on a axe head, so when we use our grinder, we have a template to follow in cutting. For a fun added bonus while using a grinder, take off the shield and do it with a short sleeve shirt, so that way you can get hot flinging metal over yourself. And I assume it's not good to inhale metal dust, so I put my shirt over my nose. I'm just going to let you know right now that this version turned out horrible. I was shocked at how much of that disc got grinded down while using it on that spoon. So it was time for take 2, and this time I got a new blade and a new flattened out spoon. And I decided to wait to do all the bending until I cut the axe shape out because it would be a lot easier to cut and work with. So we took our new blade and it was time to start cutting away. I changed over to this diamond etched metal cutting blade and it was like a insane difference. It made cutting through the spoon 10,000 times easier, and I was getting a much better shape that I was a lot happier with that I thought was going to produce a better axe head. Once I'd cut out the rough shape, I took a file and it was time to start cleaning up all those rough edges from the grinder. And when I was done cleaning up the rough edges, I really focused on starting to make that bevel where my sharp edge is going to be on the axe head. I then used the grinder for one last time and cut down a tip where the axe is going to insert into the handle once it's made. Time to do a little bit of sanding. Once the handle is sanded down, I made a hole inside of it where we're going to insert in our axe, and I dropped in some glue and then used a hammer just to pound it on in. It's a cold, crispy winter day here in South Florida. Perfect time to keep working on our little tomahawk here. I have a lot of ideas. I really wanted to get the axe to be like popping and look nice and shiny, so I took an orbital handheld sander with 220 grit sandpaper and just started going to town on it. By the end of the project, I think I used over 3 or 4 sheets of 220 sandpaper trying to get the shine just right. I had an idea. Okay, I shouldn't say I had an idea. I stole an idea. I was watching a video of Adam Savage, and he was building a sword. And he used wire to create the pommel for the sword to give it an intricate design, and that is exactly what we're about to do right here. And we're going to use the drill to make a twisted braid in this wire to make it look very interesting. I think we can go tighter than that. I did not make this nearly long enough. Frick. Once I made my braided wire, I begun to wrap it around the handle of the axe, and I realized 2 things. 1, I didn't make enough wire. And 2, I actually didn't really like how it looked that much. I thought it was a little clunky looking because my wire wrapping skills aren't that great. So I decided to pull it off. We're going to use it for something else later, and I'm going to carve down the handle even more. I wanted to continue adding detail to the axe build, so I decided to drill some holes into the metal part of the handle to give it that kind of really cool tomahawk look that you see on a lot of tomahawks. It didn't come out perfectly aligned in the holes how I imagined, but you know, drilling holes into a spoon with a frickin' drill looks good enough to me.
Much better. I was just going on the wrong side of the...
Now it's time to use some of that wire that I twisted up earlier. I actually ended up doubling it down again and doing another twist with the drill in it. And I was going to use it to make like a little handle or a pommel at the bottom of the handle. And so I super glued it and then twisted it into the wood through a little pilot hole I had drilled earlier with a drill bit. And there we go. I have a nice little ornamental handle. After that, it was time to add a layer of stain to it, and once the stain was done, we needed it to air dry out. Now that we're closing in on the axe build being almost done, I really wanted to focus on getting this thing as sharp as possible and getting a well-defined edge. So I took it to the sharpening stone and took a ton of time working the blade and getting that nice beveled edge that we need to have a good cutting point. Now here's the three versions of the spoon axe side by side. The first one I tried to do by forging it in a fire and it just didn't work. The second one looks horrible and I cut too small. And the third one, it's not too bad. Version 3.0 is looking okay. We got a nice little edge. It's a little scuffed looking, but I actually enjoy how it looks. A beautiful little handle, a nice little pommel at the bottom side, and I'm stoked with how it turned out. But now it's finally time to test its ability. First I gotta take it inside and show my wife. But do you know what I made this out of that makes this different?
What?
A spoon?
Whose spoon? One of mine? The little ones?
One of our spoons.
A little spoon?
No, it's the big spoons. It only took 3 of them.
What? What are you talking about? Are you serious?
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? We only have a couple. We have no more spoons. Let me kill you. You better be buying me more spoons for Christmas. For 4 years.
How's that feel?
I don't know. Tell me because I hope you really. I'm glad what you did. 3 spoons. How did you take 3 spoons?
How awesome is that? Because I messed up the first 2.
Well, there's also a thing called a knife.
Can you get this chopping out of the knife?
Yep.
Oh shit. The axe was proving itself to be extremely useful, taking down these root vegetables in single slices. And you know what? I bet it can take out a lot of other vegetables, and it can even make a mean stew. Spoons are now obsolete from my life. The only thing I will ever need again is the mini axe. But you've seen what it can do in the kitchen. Time to take it outside and do some real testing with it. It can split baby wood, and you can even use it to get some of them tasty wood shavings off some of those planks sitting in your backyard. But now for some real testing and a attempt to further piss off my wife. I took a nice fresh bell pepper out of the fridge, and it's time to start throwing. Pretty interesting. It didn't stick in, but it made a perfectly clean slice across the top. Freaking dead. In the slow-mo on this one, I can't tell if I just skimmed the edge of it or if I just totally whipped it with the blade, like, entirely. It actually slices pretty damn good throwing it like this. Like, I'm actually extremely happy with the edge I got on this thing.